Brisbane as the Roar host the Bulls. Both sides on the Isuzu Ute tunnel cam with so much to play for this afternoon. The Bulls travel to Ballymore today, keen to kickstart their run to the finals after recording just the solitary win from their last month of A-League football. And they know if they don't start winning, sides like Brisbane will soon be nipping at their heels. The last month for the Roar may have also only yielded that one win, but it's their turnaround under Ruben Zadkovic which has been most impressive. They've lost just one of their last 6 matches to keep themselves well and truly in the fight for finals football. And they'll be looking to christen Ballymore Stadium with 3 competition points here in what is the 5th meeting between these two sides in Queensland. Macarthur holding the head-to-head record 2-1 with the one draw between these two sides in the Sunshine State. Well, let's have a look at the team news. And for Brisbane, an unchanged side from the one who drew 1-1 with the 10 men of Sydney FC last week. There are milestones all round for the Roar, with Kai Truhan bringing up 100 A-League men's appearances, while Corey Brown makes it 150 A-League matches in orange. Anthony Burke-Gilroy and Olyrood Tom Waddingham both returned to the matchday squad after missing last week's trip to Sydney with niggles. Waddingham has 6 goals this season, the second most by a teenager in A-League men's history. So this afternoon, Kai Truhan becomes the second youngest A-League men's player to 100 matches, doing so at 22 years of age and 303 days. Bernie Abini, the only man above him who did it in almost 100 fewer days. Angus Thurgate and Scott Galloway rounding out the top 4. 4 changes for the Bulls after what has been described as their flattest performance of the season. There was even more pain attached to that defeat to the Mariners after it was confirmed in-form winger Bernardo ruptured his Achilles and he's out for the season, so Jed Drew is restored. There's no room for Olyrood Jake Holman, who drops to the bench with Kieran Backus making his first start after recovering from a groin issue. Just days after announcing he'll be a Bull next season, Matt Yerman also drops out, so Tommy Smith makes his second league start, and Keely Adamson comes in at right back for Yanni Nicolau. And what a big opportunity it is this afternoon for Jed Drew, who's been coming off the bench in recent weeks with Bernardo's massive performances week in, week out for Macarthur. So he's got some big shoes to step into, but he's got the quality as well. He set himself a goal of making the Olyrood squad at the start of the season. He didn't make it for the West Asian Under-23 Championships, but that doesn't mean he couldn't force his way in for the Olympic qualifiers. He needs a big finish to the season. He's certainly got the capability. Well, Ruben Zadkovic has found consistency in Brisbane Roar performances. Just 1 defeat in 6 since he took over, but wins, he knows, are now required as they look to close the gap on the top 6. Both Zadkovic and his opposite today, Mile Stojovski, are both South Coast juniors playing their youth football with Wollongong Wolves, but they wouldn't be teammates until 2008 when they both joined then championship side Derby County. Queenslander Alex King in charge of his 132nd A-League men's match. He was actually in charge of the last meeting back in January at Suncorp when the Bulls won 3-1, and Ballymore makes its A-League men's bout as the Roar look to christen the 55th venue in the competition's history against a Bulls side aiming to bounce back. And it's a very good afternoon to Andy Harper. Harps, welcome to the newest venue in A-League men's history.
Everything old is new again. Thanks, Ben. Good to be with you. Looking forward to a good game here. Macarthur needed to be. They were very flat last start, and they've built such a formidable opportunity for themselves. And they don't want to let it slip in these later stages of the competition, and the reverse is the case for Brisbane. They were flatlining for large parts of the opening periods of the season, but they've really shown that they're getting a wriggle on now. Brisbane Roar, great to watch. The two teams coming at this particular game from a different trajectory. We'll see who prevails.
Jelicic stabbing it towards the middle of the box where Berenguer was hanging around for Brisbane. Now Hingett. And the first foray forward breaks down. Important to note in this match, you may see that grandstand on the far side, the eastern grandstand here at Ballymore. No one's sitting in the top section. That is because it is condemned, so fans unable to sit there for safety reasons, but this near grandstand absolutely packed, and they're hoping for 4,000 to 5,000 in the house here for their first men's trip to Ballymore, which is a smaller venue than Suncorp, but crucially for Brisbane, closer to the heart of the city, only about 10 minutes from Suncorp Stadium.
Well, 10 minutes if you walk. It's a bit closer than that by car. No, it's a well-positioned stadium. It's a fabled stadium in Queensland sport. It's at least 20 years since top-flight men's football has been played there. Not a lot has changed in the intervening period. A lot of talk about Ballymore from time to time. Nothing ever finalised.
Brisbane hoping that maybe there's some funding for that far grandstand, maybe popping around with the Queensland state election coming up soon. So could be some interested parties that put some money into it. We'll wait and see how that all plays out as Bully Davler is fouled for the 56th time this season. Most fouled player in the competition. Jake Holman is on the bench, not far off him. He's at the half century. That's a neatly threaded ball by Berenguer, but Vujitsa read the situation well and found Curto. Raphael, his pass misguided, and Berenguer able to profit. Here is Brown, and he's overhit that ball, which has been a rarity for Corey Brown this season. He's got assists in his last two. Grabbed the assist for Henry Hawes' equaliser last week, coming back into A-League football this season.
Yeah, and look, given the recent history, the recent part of Corey's career, he'd just be over the moon that he's back playing in the top flight and looking strong and fit and contributing. It was a very rocky period for a time there, but he's come through it evidently, and good on him for doing so. It's a very tough period.
Raphael weaving away from Hoare and then taking on Jack Hingett. Man in the middle, including Davler and Drew, but was well cut out by the milestone man in Kai Trewin. And Rojas's touch cushioned the ball in the end, and now it's Brisbane through their flight. Milajuznic on the angle, and the ricochet is going to favour Macarthur, and just at the end be a goal kick from a very promising Raw raid.
Yeah, well, Philip Curto, very, very difficult to beat, and he's pretty difficult to contain himself. Raphael, at the moment, he is really growing nicely. And then springing upfield, Brisbane, Milajuznic with the chance to score, but you've got to do better than that, really. Philip Curto hasn't got a mortgage on the top goal keeper description or mantle in the league, but he's consistently pretty close to that discussion. Fantastic.
Well, that was save 104 for the season. He's got the most in the competition. He grabbed his 100th last week with that penalty stop for Angel Torres, but no doubt he'll want to see a little bit more from his side further up the pitch. They really were stifled by the Central Coast in that defeat at home last week. And as I mentioned earlier, Bulls staff describing it as their flattest performance of the campaign. That's That's why there's 4 changes. One of those forced, of course, with Bernardo. But some other big changes with Matt Yerman dropping out. Jake Holman, who's going to be part of the Ollie Roos side. Yanni Nicolau as well, coming out from that result last week against the Central Coast. Is there a problem here for Jack Hingett? Is it blood? Alex King's coming over. Raphael can see the funny side of it.
Well, whilst this is taking place, I'm sure the ins and outs, etc. But Philip Curto at 32. He's been in the A-League and certainly in Australia for a number of years now. He's played for Poland at youth level. You know where I'm going with this?
No, I'm just waiting with bated breath to see where you're going.
Well, is it out of the realms of possibility?
Oh, here we...
That
Are
Philip
you saying
Curto,
Socceroos?
Why not? In a world where players are being naturalised, you do a lot worse than Philip Curto.
It's a great point, and I'll segue to Tom Aldred, who became an Australian citizen in February. And he now will no longer be a visa player from next season. He's not re-signed by Brisbane yet. They're in discussions, but it's a very, very good point because Tom Aldred's been in the A-League. I know Curto was in Wellington his first season, but he's been in Australia the same amount of time, about 5 years, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's about 2019 he moved over to play with Western United. Any rate, this is all grist for the mill, and the patch-up job on Jack Hingett is giving us the opportunity to flag these discussions. I mean, there's 2 points to it. Firstly, foreign players who become naturalised, then releasing that foreign position on the playing roster is one thing. Eligibility and interest from both parties for national team representation is another part of the discussion altogether.
Yeah, and before I get taken out of context, I wasn't saying Tom Aldred for the Socceroos. I was simply saying he's been here a similar time to Philip Curto, so maybe Curto looking at Australian citizenship as well, as Jack Hingett will be playing for Sri Lanka next week. He gets across off Vujitsa and Tommy Smith. He'll be also playing international football for the All Whites. Plenty of internationals out there for both sides. Clayton Lewis, another one. But Jack Hingett, who didn't play in Sri Lanka's World Cup qualifiers, he's in for that Four Nations tournament, which is a tournament that FIFA have actually started between nations, which I don't mind. It gives nations like Sri Lanka some extra football against similar opponents from across the world, as Berenguer and Brown. Jack Hingett's going to be quite distinctive for the rest of this game with that nose bandage job. Or finds Jelicic. And now Mile Jusnic, the goal scorer Henry Hoare from last week, playing in a deeper role than maybe what we've been used to in the past, as Mile Jusnic was thwarted by Adamson. So those friendly matches for Jack Hingett, Sri Lanka up against Bhutan and PNG, Papua New Guinea. So really good clashes for the Golden Army to come up against. His dad from Sri Lanka, so that's where the heritage is for Jack Hingett. As Henry Hoare looking for Jay O'Shea, who gets on the ball eventually, sends it back out towards Hingett. Vujitsa puts it into the grandstand, but good little passage this from Brisbane. this pressure. Getting a lot of attention in this game so far, Jack Ingett. Linking with Henry Hoare. Now Jelicic returns it to the right back, who delivers across, which is well nodded away by Tommy Smith. But Brisbane applying the blowtorch here to the Bulls. Brown waits for the continued run of O'Shea. And safety first approach for Tommy Uscott.
Well, such a prominent player for Brisbane, Jay O'Shea, who controlled that attack beautifully. And you know, the Brisbane players, in this case particularly Corey Brown, kept looking for the Irishman, trusting him totally that he was going to create something, which he again did. Tommy Uscott forced to head for the corner.
Berenguer. And whipped in dangerously by O'Shea, but Milausnic's header never looked likely. Linking with Macklin Freak. Returns it to the captain. And Hoare sends it right for Hingett. Flag comes up from Macarthur free kick. So I was mentioning Tom Aldred not re-signed for next season. There are a number of Brisbane players not re-signed for next season. I had a chat to Kaz Patafta about that. Come back to that here as Brisbane pushing forward through Rojas. Almost slipped it through on the first. On the second attempt, Curto made the save, but it spills in front of Florent Berenguer. And Brisbane's pressure finally pays, and the Frenchman has his third goal of the season. And the Den are pumped.
Well, it appears a rare misjudgment from Macarthur keeper Philip Curto on the Harvey Norman replay. Too boisterous in midfield for Brisbane. And as they break through the centre of the field, it's really not that much on the shot, and just caught with his feet. Not able to get the push off and playing at the ball, Philip Curto. And all he succeeds in doing is palming it straight into the path of Florent Berenguer. Rojas looking to feed another striker. Instead, it's he who takes a rather muffed shot, it should be said. But it forces the error, and Berenguer is there to tap in.
Well, one of the premier goalkeepers in the competition with a moment he would love to have over again. But it's another import in Florent Berenguer. What a signing for Brisbane Roar this season. And we are being told that Chris Griffiths-Jones, the VAR, is having a look at a potential offside. That looks fine. Well, this will be a goal, Huffs. I don't think there's going to be any issues with this.
Yeah, well, that doesn't even look close.
And this is the frustration with the VAR, is the time wasted out of the game. I know last night in Newcastle there was a VAR check that took about 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, I mean, at that point, you make, I don't know why the referee's clock has to keep ticking.
So goal confirmed. Brisbane lead 1-0. They deserve the lead. And Macarthur, another sleepy start to this one.
Yeah,
it was a sleepy performance last week against the Mariners. This hasn't started too well for them.
No, not at all. Not at all. They're before they know it, if they're not careful, they'll find themselves in a hole.
So back underway here. And you just wonder as well, so their form slump has somewhat coincided with their AFC Cup exit. Just one win in their last 4. That came against Melbourne City on that Friday night. Defeats to Wellington and the Mariners, a draw with Newcastle. Does look tight from that angle, but it was pretty clear cut, you thought, from that side-on perspective, but maybe just looking a little bit tighter when you get the lines involved. There's Mile Jusnic, finds Hingett. Here's Truant. The Centurion today for Brisbane Roar, sliding a lovely weighted pass in front of Brown. There could be another here. Smith got it away momentarily. Now Jelicic, a snapshot from Mile Jusnic. Macarthur are getting plenty of warning shots here.
Well, it's tough to contain Brisbane at the moment. I mean, they're playing forward with great positivity and speed. And the necessary desperation from Macarthur to see that one to a point where the shot wasn't particularly powerful, but lovely through ball from Truant. Corey Brown centred nicely.
Ruben Zadkovic watching on from the sideline. He'll be very impressed with this start. The energy and the ferociousness they've come into this game. The first A-League men's match here at Ballymore Stadium, and Brisbane are delivering from the outset. No doubt they'll want a little bit more scoreboard dominance from there. Early pressure. Well, hang on a second. What's going on here? Jed Drew has been checked off the ball by Aldred. There hasn't been a card handed out. Is this a brain explosion or is there not much in it?
Well, it was pretty heavy contact. Tom Aldred was caught without actually knowing where Jed Drew was. Seems to be what the decision is. Drew's back to his feet.
Clumsy from Tom Aldred. Extremely clumsy. In another sport, you'd be spending time off the field with that kind of contact, halves. You may even get a few weeks suspension. Well, there's the dominance from Brisbane in this game. Rojas, how about the tricky feet there from Marco Rojas. Jelicic driving forward. Keegan Jelicic sent off last time he played Macarthur. Since then, he has not put a foot wrong, and he creates a great chance once again.
Well, it was beautiful through midfield. And you've got Joe Schofel and Berenguer back to their best. Marco Rojas now with game minutes and contributing. That was a beautiful release. Buitsa did a good job to stick to his task and see Jelicic into a more narrow angle towards goal, which was then cut off by Philip Curto as well. Nice play from Brisbane.
They pile on more pain from the set piece as O'Shea is deep towards Aldred. Able to control things for the moment for Macarthur. They are good on the counter-attack, and Jed Drew gets a touch in front of O'Shea, sends it wide to Germain. Speed, not his strong suit, so he links with Davila. But look at the numbers from Brisbane back behind the ball. Just an orange wave getting back. Most impressive the way they recovered. 5 shots at goal. Brisbane almost winning possession back. There's just a real ferocity from this Brisbane Roar side in these opening minutes. How long can they sustain it for? That's the question.
Well, that does remain the question, but there's no complaints at the moment from the Brisbane players. They're very sharp in the contest, and Macarthur are clearly second best at the moment. Should be grateful, I guess, that the damage is It's not greater than 1. And they've got plenty of quality in their team, so a 1-goal deficit is certainly enough for them to overhaul. But it won't happen by itself, and they'll have to start filing the edge off Brisbane. Not expect it to dull of its own accord.
Is thrown to ground by Bacchus. You wonder whether that will be a yellow card. Alex King having a look around, and it won't be because it was just a cynical challenge. It has to be somewhat of a more dangerous nature if advantage is played. Jelicic. Curto flings himself into action. This is a confident Raw side who's desperate for a second goal to just frank this advantage and this dominance that they're having against the Bulls right now. There's ebbs and flows in a contest, and they know that Macarthur will have their moments, you would expect. Aldred, Miller-Jusnic, Berenguer putting Uzcock under almighty pressure.
That's top stuff from Brisbane. And Macarthur look there for the taking at the moment, 20-odd minutes in. Long way to go in this game, but just the way this period of the game is unfolding after what was a strong start from Brisbane, and only seems to be getting stronger, and Macarthur need to hang on. The game could be blown out of their reach.
Ballers across the sideline. Just want to make note, Harps. Brisbane, similar squad this to the one they had last year, but just shows you a couple of key, 2 or 3 key signings. Berenguer, Rojas, this man Jelicic. They look a much more improved side than what we've seen in seasons past.
Well, that's true, and of the players you've mentioned, really it's Florent Berenguer who was the big off-season recruit. The others are having a good impact, and I agree with you, but it's come more latterly, and I just think, you know, the foundation that was laid in the off-season by Ross Aloisi took the team to the cup final, and then a very promising start to the season itself, cut short, that chapter at least, by Aloisi's decision, which still remains a bit of a mystery to me, but nevertheless, he opted to move to China, caused a little bit of tumult in his wake, and now Ruben Zatkovic has taken it and run with it, and the team is responding. And then these later inclusions, Rojas is really starting to flourish. Great player, we know that he is, but came underdone, and they've nursed him in gently. Keegan is a fine young player, and we're seeing some of the best of his football again. To this point now, 24 minutes in, defending this free kick, but a goal to the good and looking very strong, Brisbane.
But Macarthur, they can turn it all around here with one strike of the football. Davila. Lewis! Freak! Flings himself up high to push it up and over the bar. That's a big moment for a goalkeeper who hasn't been tested at all in this game so far.
Yeah, extremely important moment delivered there by Macklin Freak. So too Clayton Lewis. Is a good shot on goal. Macarthur need to build their confidence from moments like that.
Davila driving a low cross. Ball's clearance not his best, and Drew keeping the aerial ping pong alive for the moment. Germain. Angle the pass out towards Tommy Smith. It is going to bring a corner here for Macarthur, so they've got their little period here, the Bulls.
Well, this is terrific experience defensively from Jay O'Shea. A more expected reaction might be, here's the shot from Lewis, a very good one, nice save. An expected reaction as that ball was clipped over by Germain was for Jay O'Shea just to try and head the ball upfield, and his sense in that split second was, well, this is not going to relieve the pressure. Let's just knock it out for a corner and get ourselves set again.
It's got a lot of dip, and it's a great finish from Tommy Uzcock, his first goal of the season. and one of very few chances for the Bulls, but they are efficient, and now they are back level.
And of course, heading the ball out for a corner is only a safer option if you're going to defend that corner. On the Harvey Norman replay, after a really good start, this is really poor from Brisbane. 4 yards out from the goal line. Lewis's corner has a lot of elevation. There's plenty of time to adjust. Macklin Freak, after that excellent save from Clayton Lewis, for some reason not coming to claim that inside his own area. Berenguer, Brisbane's goal scorer, is just beaten completely by Tommy Uscock. It's a really strong header from the Macarthur man, but it's one that should have been denied him by better defending from Brisbane. And the great start to the match from the Roar has now evaporated on the scoreboard. Their lead extinguished, and we're back square.
Couple of goals in the AFC Cup for Tommy Uscock. First in the league for him. And what a time to score it. And we've been touching on that half, saying that Brisbane have been dominant, but they'd love a second goal to go with it, and that's exactly why. It only takes one moment, and Tommy Uscock has delivered it off the back of a delightful corner from Clayton Lewis. So 1-1 we stand here at Ballymore. Macarthur have got themselves well and truly a foothold in this game. Bacchus and Davila. Vujitsa, his cross was studded in the end by, it looked to be Germain, but has it taken a touch on the way through off Trewin? He believes not. Germain has a wry smile. It's going to be another corner for the Bulls here. To be fair, hard to judge. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Referee says corner, so here's the chance. With the wind at their backs here, Macarthur, so gives them some good shape, but Adamson's corner is deep, and in the end, it's the goal scorer who fouls Florent Berenguer. Do you think they need one of their centre-backs harps on Tommy Uscock as opposed to Florent Berenguer? Not the most physical player. We'll come back to that discussion as Hingett bombs away down the right. Milejusnic tracks back. Lovely pass to Rojas. Corner for Brisbane.
Yeah, it's a great spring upfield from Brisbane. Excellent. And there might be a question mark or two about the way Brisbane pick up and the man-to-man jobs they've distributed defending corners. Let's see how Macarthur go this time against Brisbane. Marco Rojas has a lovely reverse ball there from Milejusnic, and this is the trademark light feet of Marco Rojas. When he starts skipping around the place, you know you've got to start paying attention, because a lot of magic usually comes at the end of it.
I just wonder why he didn't get the same game time in Chile as this corner comes in. Aldred, it's a pinball in the box. Curto, he was sprawling to the turf, and in the end it's harmlessly over the byline. Is there a problem here for Raphael? There was a lot going on in the 18-yard box.
Well, it's an amazing chance for Brisbane. I mean, speaking about matchups, no one has picked up Brisbane's biggest player in Tommy Aldred. Smith was there, but then fell asleep at the wheel, it seemed, and with the whole goal, Aldred can't find the target. There's Smith, the number 3 for Macarthur. He's got his marking job on Aldred, and then he just loses him. Got to do much better than that. So too in the finishing stakes from the Brisbane skipper, Tommy Aldred. He needed to nail that one.
Well, especially for Tommy Smith, he's coming up against one Mo Salah, and he plays for the All Whites in the Wins United Cup, which is going to take place actually in Egypt now. It was originally scheduled for UAE, I believe, but they've moved it to Egypt. So the All Whites taking on the Pharaohs in that match, and then depending on results, they'll either play Croatia or Tunisia. So really good few matches for the All Whites, who are a red-hot chance of making the World Cup now that it's been expanded to 48 teams. So massive opportunities for both he and Clayton Lewis, who are part of that side. Tommy Smith earmarked potentially as a signing for Auckland FC. Dan Hall already expected to head over the ditch from the Mariners, so it'll be a decent centre-back combination. He and Tommy Smith, who's spent the majority of his career in England, but also in the US as well. Ilicic just left that a little short and allows backers to find Smith. While we have a moment, speaking of contracts, Brisbane, not many players re-signed for next season. I've only got Berenguer and O'Shea. I've been told there's a number of players that have re-signed, just haven't been announced yet. And they're really looking to angle towards a Queensland focus for this team, which hasn't always been the case over recent years. So really prioritising the local talent, so there's a pathway through for all the young Sunshine State players to come all the way through into the orange of Brisbane.
We'll probably need another team in Brisbane, Benny, to actually tap into the numbers and the wealth of junior talent. If that's going to be a priority of the league, and I would support that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, there's so much talent in Queensland. Think about across so many sports, so many athletes spend the winter months up there. It's just a real breeding ground for wonderful sports people. Lewis overhitting as he looked for Jed Drew. If you missed it during the week, Bernardo rupturing his Achilles in the defeat to the Mariners last week. Heartbreaking injury after he missed all of last season with injury as well. So
he's really starting to move too. The shift to Macarthur has helped him. So too the number 17, Raphael. He's really starting to blossom. Both products of Adelaide United, becoming a pretty fabled production line out of Adelaide. But certainly, if moves can be beneficial, then Bernardo and Raphael have been demonstrations of that.
O'Shea, no one there stationed at the back post except the left boot of Keely Adamson. Cleared it away for the moment, but Brisbane come back through Mile Uznic. Berenguer's header not ending up where he would have liked. Some space to drive into. Jelicic, early delivery. Rojas just looking for an opening, whether it be for a shot or the pass, and he almost found Berenguer.
Well, again, he's not quite at his best yet, Marco Rojas, but there are signs that he's building that case. I think this one was going to be offside anyway, but nice interplay. Three very talented footballers looking to link there. Jelicic, Rojas and Berenguer.
There's a reason why he won the Johnny Warren medal back in the 2012-13 season. He's been in Chile with the South American Giants Colo-Colo for the last 2 seasons. Limited opportunities for him back in the transfer window over the Australian summer. And he looks to be a mighty pickup for Brisbane. At the time, I think people were a little unsure just how it would play out, wondering whether maybe he'd reached his best and he was on the downhill run, but he's certainly showing some great signs here, Marco Rojas. As he leaves it for Jelicic, did he get a little nudge from Clayton Lewis? Not according to Alex King, that was enough to bring a free kick. And now Raphael is felled by Hingett, who is going to be the first into the book, his 5th of the season. But of course, we're past the 20 matches, so Jack Hingett, he needs another 3 more to get a 1-match ban.
Yes, a sliding tackle from Jack Hingett, fully with the intent of stopping Raphael there and then. Had a bit of cover behind him, but he had to make that split-second decision and didn't fancy his chances in chasing the youngster down.
The 33-year-old legs up against the 20-year-old. And this is a concern that Raphael hasn't bounced back to his feet, as we so often see. You could just see there, Macarthur staff plenty of messages getting across to their players. You could see a Brisbane Roar legend in Matt Smith there having a chat, now part of the Macarthur coaching staff, having a chat to Tommy Smith as Raphael just gets a little bit more treatment. Good opportunity for both sides just to have a little bit of a reset. Match has been somewhat more even in the last 10 minutes or so. It was all Brisbane for the first 20 to 25 minutes. Then Macarthur got their chance, equalised, and sitting on a very even keel at the moment here at Ballymore Stadium. Lewis looking to link that bending ball with Germain. O'Shea. Clipping it for Mile Jusnic. The spin just evaded him, but he's got the ability just to reshape his body and allow this Brisbane Roar attack to continue. Berenguer had the arm raised and the Irishman saw it. Berenguer and O'Shea again. They've got some magic touches, those two. Can they find some more gold dust to get Brisbane back in front? Here's the Frenchman, Berenguer, moving left and right. O'Shea, Jelicic's header. Finds Hingett, and now Mile Jusnic saunters after it. Jelicic. Berenguer. He's already got one. He gets a corner this time.
That's lovely play from Brisbane. And there's such a distinct style that they're developing for themselves. A lot of players, when they get to build up, move into the attacking zone, particularly the penalty area, and then players in close proximity. There's a lot of really good integration between them, and just the way they set up. You know, Ben, Henry Hoare, who for most of his A-League career has played as a winger and a very good one. Is now playing more as a central midfielder. The whole thing is a lot more congested, and they're playing it really well.
Brown couldn't keep it down. I wanted to ask you, what do you make of Henry Hall playing a little bit deeper? Because it looks pretty good from a Brisbane perspective.
It's a great vote of confidence in he from Ruben Zatkovic to expand his game. But you just look at, they've got some great attacking players. Henry Hall has come along really well in the last couple of years. As we've said, it's been principally as a winger. Well, the wide spaces now are basically left for Jack Hingett down the right and Corey Brown down the left. They don't play with those orthodox wingers generally, and certainly not today. And this extra talent then is aggregated more around each other, closer proximity, sharper interchange, and Hoare is right in the middle of it all. He's doing very, very well. It's a good recipe at the moment, and they're playing with vigour, which is important because no system works without players putting in, and the Brisbane players are certainly doing that.
Macarthur through Bacchus, leathered that strike on goal. Aldred got himself in a pickle, and how about the technique on the finish? Raphael with a ripper, and Macarthur, they lead 2-1.
Well, no sooner do you give Brisbane another rap, they concede another goal. On the Harvey Norman replay, it's poor. I mean, the defending has let them down badly twice now. But on the Harvey Norman replay, that would be to deny a great effort from the youngster, Raphael, whose star is really shining. I mean, it's calamitous, comical defending almost from Brisbane. But the finish is sublime from the youngster to give the visitors the lead. Very crisp, laser-like finish from Raphael.
How difficult is this to execute, Harps?
Well, a dropping, spinning ball behind him at a very awkward height. I mean, he really is looking good. And, you know, obviously, great football DNA. His dad, Cristiano, a great player for Adelaide United. And then the systems he's been involved with can all take their credit. Most latterly, you'd have to say, without knowing any better, that Milan Stojowski is pressing all the right buttons with some of these youngsters, doing a great job.
And I think that's the sound of knocking of Raphael or Mile Stojowski, you could say, on Tony Vidmar's door, because missed out on the Olyroos squad for the West Asia Under-23 Championship. Certainly plenty of quality and certainly in the frame for the Olympics with that kind of form. Jed Drew waiting for the right moment to deliver the cross. It's another corner here for the Bulls, and this has been a hallmark of their season. They have been so efficient when they have got their opportunities, and that's the story again here today. Brisbane creating the glut, and they've had moments of great possession and build-up, but it's on the scoreboard where the game's won and lost, and that is where the Bulls are winning it at the moment. Rees looks to have just moved around as Lewis delivers, and Uzcock almost had a double. And this is a concern, Harps. We mentioned this before. Florent Berenguer and Tommy Uzcock. It seems to be a match made in heaven for the Bulls and made in hell for Brisbane.
Yeah, well, it does make one scratch one's head.
Adam Kersey about to raise the board. We should have at least a couple, and we have got 4 all told here. Time for Brisbane to find themselves an equaliser, or Macarthur to make it the same scoreline we saw back in January at Suncorp. That would be quite a turnaround after Brisbane opened the scoring. Lewis angles the pass to a supremely confident Raphael. but he's stopped by the veteran Jack Hingett. There's a win for the Brisbane right fullback.
Well, Brisbane, as halftime approaches, will be looking at themselves if they can't get back level at least by halftime in the sheds and thinking, how did that happen? We've played some great stuff. And over the course of the majority of the half, we were by far the better team. And how are we not winning this game? Worse, how are we losing it? And the answer is two really dodgy pieces of defending. Just when they needed to focus, they were unable. Their good work undone. And Macarthur, to their eternal credit, have hung in the game, played some decent stuff from time to time, but not their usual standard. And as they say often, Ben, when you can get advantage on the scoreboard without playing well, particularly, it speaks a lot to what your season outcomes might be. And Macarthur have built a good case for themselves. They don't want to let it slip. They need to improve their performance, but they've got a golden lead going into the break.
And we talked about the opportunity for Brisbane coming into this game to close the gap to Macarthur to just 3 points, and all of a sudden they're 3 points away from 4th place, and they're feeling like they're a real opportunity of making the finals. Well, they lose this, all of a sudden the gap to Macarthur becomes 9 points. Clayton Lewis. And now Jed Drew. It's a huge half-time talk coming up for Ruben Zadkovic in the context of Brisbane Roar's season, which began so well with that Australia Cup final. And then with the start to the season where they were sitting well and truly in the top 2 and 3 teams, up the top of the ladder for some parts of it. And then they had the departure of Ross Aloisi, that big loss to City. Ben Kahn, unfortunately, stepping down due to health reasons. Ruben Zadkovic has resurrected things in recent weeks, but 3 points is what they need. Smith puts it on the boot of Adamson, and now Davila. Drew drives it off a raw player, spills for Adamson, clips it up towards Raphael. Hingett did enough, but Jelicic didn't. And now Raphael, tricky feet from Raphael, gets another bite at the cherry, and Truan to safety for the moment for Brisbane. Some hairy moments here for the home side as Berenguer now looks to turn things around rapidly. O'Shea and Mile Jusnic's technique let him down at a key moment. Well, scored a wonder goal and then pulled the magic out of his hat, did Raphael. So that is the difference between these two sides at halftime. A moment of magic from Raphael and a moment of madness defensively, you'd say, from Brisbane Roar. Tommy Uscock got the equaliser for Macarthur after it was Florin Berenguer who scored the opening goal for Brisbane after a dominant spell, but they were unable to convert from their glut of chances and possession. Half-time in the first A-League men's match here at Ballymore. Brisbane Roar 1, Macarthur FC 2. And we have got all the analysis from the first half coming up right after the break. It's Macarthur leading the Roar 2-1.
Get on my airplane, we're gonna fly high. 4,000 feet, gonna touch the sky.
Geordie Boss with his very first international goal. Here's Jackson Irvine. It's there for Australia. Jackson Irvine. Goodwin. Craig Goodwin on the volley.
Well, don't forget, the A-League takes a break next week. The Socceroos return. This is the Hungry Jacks halftime show, and it is Brisbane Roar who were down 2-1 in the first A-League men's match here at Ballymore Stadium, and it's thanks to a spectacular goal from Raphael right before halftime. After some poor defending, but Raphael still had to do the rest, and didn't he what? And that leaves us with the Bulls leading the Roar 2-1 at halftime. Andy Harper. Let's have a look now at the Harvey Norman highlights, and what they'll show is Brisbane Roar. They were dominant early on and they got a deserved goal.
Yeah, they've had a good half apart from a couple of moments, and those couple of moments have hurt them badly, but otherwise they've shown a good way forward for themselves. Their goal, the result of an unexpected error, unfamiliar error from Philip Curto. Rojas is looking dangerous, and this is not the most dangerous moment he's produced, but it was, in the end, one of the most effective. Macarthur not able to get the ball clear. Tommy Smith sliding in and just helping the ball back to Rojas, who with the second attempt on goal skews the shot somewhat, but the parry from Curto falls into the feet of Florent Berenguer. Brisbane undeterred, kept playing well, and then all of a sudden just defended really poorly from this corner. Tommy Uscock, by the time he meets the ball, is maybe 2.5, 3 yards off the line. Florent Berenguer with the assignment to mark. The rampaging Uscock, there's a question mark over that. Hackman Freak as well for his effort there. And then Brisbane, again, they're like statues. These two goals that they've conceded, it's like they freeze in the penalty area, become statues. And a lot of players watching what was happening with the ball there. Tom Aldred tried to react, it was pretty ineffective. A lot of teammates who were standing around waiting for someone else to do the business, as it was that business ultimately done by the excellent Raphael with a really good goal. And then Brisbane with a final chance to equalise as well. Miljusnic not looking terribly convincing on that occasion, but this guy has been the highlight of the half for me. His play has been electric, and he's showing such great potential.
And when you think about Ollie Roo's selection, Harps, for Raphael, he's not in the squad for next week. Is he a real shot for the qualifiers, do you think?
Well, I think the way it's going, Ben, yeah, I can't quibble with him not being selected at this point. he's left his run in some centres a little bit late and hasn't had a great deal of playing time over the last 18 months, but he's certainly building a case for himself now. Excellent save from Macklin Freak. Philip Curto with a couple of good saves from Macarthur at the other end as well.
And this is the tail of the tape, the match stats. Brisbane dominant in possession, dominant shots at goal, and the XG as well. But as we always say, Harps, it's about efficiency in front of goal, and that's where Macarthur are winning this game.
Yeah, they've been efficient in front of goal, and Brisbane have been dysfunctional defending their goal on those key moments, and that'll be really frustrating for everyone involved because they've let themselves down. Macarthur, on the other hand, have been able to ride the wave. They'll need to be better in the second half, not just to secure the points here, which currently are in their possession, but for the remaining games to believe they can build a serious case to challenge for the title. And fly-by-nights aren't going to win the competition. You know, flash-in-the-pan efforts aren't going to be good enough to win the competition. And Macarthur have built a good enough case to be in that consideration, but recent form has been a little bit flat. They need to use this second half to consolidate, in their own minds at least, that they can build and continue to build on the case. And Brisbane, from their point of view, Ben, just need to get back on the horse. They played good enough stuff to be leading the match. They'll be very disappointed that they're trailing.
Florian Berenguer, a huge signing for Brisbane Roar in the off-season, the Frenchman. He scored his third goal of the season and opened the scoring for Brisbane Roar. What have you made of his overall performance today, Harps?
Berenguer, big fan. He's become a staple in A-League men's football, great at Melbourne City. His move to Brisbane maybe caught the eye of a few people, maybe a little bit by surprise, but he's settled really well. His partnership with Jay O'Shea, excellent too. Wonderful, experienced players with great quality to steer the way forward.
So he leads the Paramount Plus player index. Raphael in second. Maybe you thought he would have got more points for the technique on that finish. And Jay O'Shea also rounding out the top three in the P Plus player index. Don't forget as well, we've also got the Socceroos taking on Lebanon this Thursday. They are continuing round 2 of the World Cup qualifiers. The Socceroos already performing well in this phase of qualification. Harps, a 7-0 win over Bangladesh, a 1-0 win over Palestine, and now they get 2 matches against Lebanon, of course. Lebanon can't host, so that match being played in Canberra next week.
Yeah, it's a massive help for the Socceroos. Not that they need help, certainly at home. And against Lebanon, who are strong and robust in the Asian Cup recently held in Qatar. But Australia rarely loses qualifying matches at home, and having back-to-back games here after not playing many home games at all in qualifying for the last World Cup, I think they'll really relish it. You would expect them to be too strong, and there's plenty of reason for the Socceroos fans to get out in great numbers and watch the national team go through their paces.
So a big week of football, Socceroos and Lebanon, 21st of March on Thursday, and then next week as well. And both matches there in prime time, so get home from work and enjoy some international football with the A-League on hiatus for a week. And don't forget as well that the football continues in the FA Cup. We have got some huge clashes coming your way in the quarterfinals. Coventry City taking on Wolves. They're the lowest ranked team in the competition remaining, and a bit of a heavyweight battle between Man City and Newcastle as well. So big matches coming up. Hungry Jack's halftime show. Thanks for your company. Second half is next.
F1 is all about the need for speed.
And it's lights out and away we go.
Wheel-to-wheel action at 330 kilometres an hour.
Around the outside goes Max Verstappen.
And it's coming to Network 10.
And into absolute chaos on the restart.
We'll bring you all the action from on and off the track as Albert Park hosts the world's best.
What a moment in Melbourne.
It's the Formula One Rolex Australian Grand Prix, live on Network 10.
Welcome back to Brisbane. Yes, so much sport coming on Network 10 next week. We've got those internationals for the Socceroos. And we've also got the A-League Women's and the F1. So there is so much to enjoy while this competition takes a break. And Jake Coleman back on the field in the second half, a substitution for Macarthur as we get started for the second 45. The Bulls looking to consolidate their spot in the six halves, and Brisbane, well, they need to claw back this advantage.
Well, they need to tighten up mentally as much as anything in their own defensive penalty area. They've been quite soft there, actually, because a lot of their other football has been good. And Macarthur now with the jump on the raw. Vital 3 points for both teams. And Brisbane can come back and win this one. They'll be right on the edge of Melbourne City, who make up the top six, and Brisbane with Sydney and Macarthur rather with Sydney losing at the moment over in Auckland, can go third in the comp.
So Jake Coleman just getting 100% confirmation, but it looks as though it's Jed Drew who has been substituted. And that is the case. So Voytz's delivery, Holman almost with an immediate impact. So this will be interesting just to see how things shake out tactically for Macarthur, because we're so used to Holman playing in the midfield. It looks as though he's going to play as a winger maybe in this, at least the start of this second half. Maybe looking for depth in that area. Mile Stajovski with Bernardo now out for the season. Hingett slipping it in behind. The speedy Mile Jusnic allows him some time, and Hingett's delivery too powerful in the end.
And enough of a chase from Voytz and then Clayton Lewis to put the pressure on Brisbane. Lovely breakaway. Mile Jusnic, too much speed. He had plenty of space here. As he looks up, he can't find a compelling option. And then Clayton Lewis does well enough to put the on-running Jack Hingett slightly off his game, and the shot blazing away.
Is there much Ruben Zadkovic could really add at half-time outside of let's cut out the defensive mistakes? Because halves, as we've touched on, the first half, Brisbane, pretty good.
You know, there's not a lot, but this is the opportunity for a coach, the influence they can have on a dressing room with the appropriate messaging to just straighten people up. And I'm not talking about, you know, hair dryers or throwing cups of tea. But when everything else is going reasonably well and they're playing an attractive brand of football, they're creating chances, they've dominated large parts of the game, it's not as though you need necessarily to tinker with the structure, but it's a refocus on individual responsibilities. And maybe some of the assignments might get corrected. Let's see the next Macarthur corner.
And we'll see if Berenguer is still marking Uzcock. We'll keep an eye on that in the second half as Brown finds Rojas up against his opposite here in Adamson, and Rojas floating it in the arms of Curto in the end. Davila, and then Raphael to Adamson. Important to note as well, Uli Davila not signed by Macarthur beyond this season. I know certainly there'll be discussions ongoing with him, but they'll certainly be keen to keep their captain long term. 33 years of age, but certainly got some years left in him. Now, Jed Drew, there certainly looks to be an issue injury-wise, that maybe an ankle leg problem, certainly limping. So certainly looks to be a forced change, not anything other than that for Mile Stajovski. And if Jed Drew is forced out for a length of time, he's going to have to find someone to play on that left wing, and they've got a lot of midfielders, so he's thinking, well, Jay Coleman, here's the chance just to see how it works. As Davila strides into space, Raphael loping down the right, Davila cuts in centrally, Gemma. Raphael lifts it up. Adamson. Raphael driving in, little dink over the top, but his teammates weren't on the same page. Jelicic to Berenguer. Always looks so fluid when he runs, Keegan Jelicic. That time, just too much weight on the pass. Final pass just eluding Brisbane to start this second half. Across the sideline here for a Brisbane throw. So Brisbane staring down the barrel at the moment. 6 matches without a win against the Bulls. It's been more than 2 years since they last tasted success. It's quite an intriguing run, considering both sides have been in a similar kind of position on the table during that period. Even last year, Macarthur getting the wooden spoon, Brisbane unable to get a win over them. Maybe this is their chance for a route back into it. It's Corey Brown. Good delivery, and Vujica had to steer it over.
Geez, they had plenty on it from Corey Brown. Well done. Vujica, lovely work from Corey Brown too. Touching and delivering in 2 movements. With Berenguer just beyond Vujica at that second post.
See, the breeze has definitely dropped from the first half, where Clayton Lewis got that real drop and dip from this kind of left-footed corner. Brown not the height, and Curto was able to claim those long arms. Oh, he's rolled it into the back of Jelicic. Now, I thought that was a mistake from Curto, not down to Jelicic being in his way. Harps, which way did you see it?
Ooh. Yeah, look, I don't know that. Yeah, probably. It's hard one to know. Keegan's just had a little look at where Curto is. Otherwise, he's done a very good job of disguising any intent to run obstruction. Very good intent, which makes it hard to make a comment definitively. But the referee had to act. Got to go with him. He swooped, made the decision very quickly, and fair enough.
Yeah, I'd probably lean that way. Probably fair enough, but as a goalkeeper, you have to be
he's got to know better,
careful, don't you?
He was not quite up to his usual standard leading up to Brisbane's first goal, Philip Curto.
Did you hear your Socceroos shout?
Well, less a shout, more a consideration, and more really, I guess, as a reflection on how good he's been, a credit to him.
just couldn't kill the ball dead with his first touch, and it allowed Philip Curto to come out and pounce.
And Araha's getting in behind Keely Adamson there. Great opportunity. Curto very alert to the danger. His positioning was excellent.
Poor. Lays it out in front of Hingett, who drives to the byline and hammered a ball across the face of goal, which Tommy Smith has to push over with his head for another corner.
Well, it's wave after wave of Brisbane attack. Again, they're setting a similar template from the first half. Hingett beating Buitsa in the one-on-one situation and firing the ball in. Tommy Smith hitting the ball clear.
So a change in corner takers. It was Brown last time. This time it's O'Shea, and it's floated towards Aldred there in the middle of the box. Well attacked by Adamson. And German able to trick his way past O'Shea and find Holman. Truant sliding it out in front of Brown, who's ripping in another cross. Keely Adamson is going to be really put to the test by player in form at the moment in Corey Brown, especially from an assist perspective. Unable to find a teammate. Brisbane really penning in the balls, as they have done throughout the majority of this match, you'd say. Outside of the couple of goals the Bulls have scored. Can they find themselves an avenue to an equaliser though? Hingett, little slip, but still got a dangerous delivery in. Clayton Lewis got it away on the volley for Macarthur. Truant stabs it up to Brown. And now Hoare. Very narrow at the moment for Brisbane. Jelicic sends Rojas a little wider. O'Shea allows Brown just some space to get in behind. Davila just nips in at a key moment. He's asking for the throw. It's not being granted by Alex King, and Brisbane get to go again here.
No, it clearly was a Macarthur throw.
Hingett and Jelicic out-muscled in the end. Out-manoeuvred by Keely Adamson. That's a great win in the shadows of the sideline by Raphael. Given away by the Bulls once again. It's a big win for German. And, well, Macarthur will be filthy. There was a clear opportunity to play advantage. Alex King was making out that he had to stop play.
You know what? I think he handballed it here. He's played at that with his hand. So the foul on O'Shea, fair enough, but you can't play advantage when you've handballed onto Uli Davila. I think the referee's got that completely correct.
Yeah, he's nailed that, Alex King. And that's why I was a little shocked, because a referee of Alex King's pedigree wouldn't miss the opportunity there to play an advantage. So here are the changes. The two men who missed the trip to Sydney last week, Anthony Burke-Gilroy, Tom Waddingham. They're going to come onto the field. So some fresh legs down the flank, and a very intriguing point that I'll mention, maybe just fatiguing a little bit Hingett, because Brisbane were looking quite narrow, maybe not getting quite as far forward as the case in the first half. So Burke Gilroy on Tom Waddingham, who's scored 6 goals this season, second most for a teenager in A-League men's history. And I can tell you, thanks to Andrew Howe, who the other teenagers were with more. Ben Wayne and Alu Kuol with 7 in the 2020-2021 season, and Bernie Abini with 7 in 2011-2012 season. That's a great win from Holman. Davila, Raphael looking for a double, and it was well blocked by Henry Hoare. Spills for Bacchus, and Lewis sends it out, skimming along the turf to Germain. Another decent delivery from the Frenchman, but no one there on the back stick, and allows Brisbane now through Rojas. This will be a ball's throw in just to finish off Harps. So A-League, where teenagers have struggled at times to get appearances. Senior players have been the goal scorers, you'd say. Let's have a look back at the entire National League, NSL A-League. Most goals by a teenager. A player by the name of Mark Viduka. 21 goals in the 1994-95 season. And Mile Stajovski, third highest on the list. 17 goals in the 1998-99 NSL season. So that's the high water mark for teenagers in the National League in Australia. The A-League, it's only 7, 21 scored by Mark Viduka. What's that, almost 30 years ago.
Well, one of the young brigade of strikers aspiring to be something like Mark Viduka. Good luck. Wouldn't we love it? But Tom Waddingham on for Brisbane, and given the way this second half has unfolded and the sort of delivery that Brisbane have been getting into the penalty area of Macarthur, Waddingham, you'd fancy, might give them a bit of an edge. Some of that crossing has looked really dangerous, but lacked the presence to finish it off perhaps, and maybe young Waddingham can provide that presence.
5 goals in his last 4, and I think what that shows you as well is Wayne, now with Plymouth Argyle in the UK. Alu Kuol, who of course spent time in Germany, now back in the A-League. Bernie Abini also spent time overseas, so it doesn't assure that he's going to have a great career, but it certainly provides a platform for Tom Waddingham. And let's say he gets himself close to double figures based on those players that we just mentioned, the Vidukas, Stajovskis. It's a pretty good career if you can bang in the goals as a teenager in this competition and go on to do wonderful things with your career. Jelicic just glides across the turf. Waddingham almost getting involved on the first occasion. Now Mile Jusnic. Waddingham's up, putting the pressure on Tommy Uscock, and he earns his side a corner here.
That was a really nice opening forced by Brisbane. Through ball from Jelicic is a good one. Billy Adamson providing the cover for Macarthur.
Uscock's header away. Aldred on the volley. Tom Aldred, that would have been a pretty spectacular goal, and he believes it should be another corner kick.
Well, nice control, and the shot on the angle. Curto was scrambling initially and then felt comfortable the ball was going wide.
So Raphael has scored the go-ahead goal for the Bulls, replaced by Ali Orgler, who is in Ramadan at the moment, so really challenging period for him to keep himself well hydrated and well fed, of course, during the sunset to sunrise hours. That's the only period where he can take in that kind of sustenance. And great from the A-Leagues this year that if sunset does fall during a game, they are able to break their fast Muslim players in this competition, which is wonderful. Not going to fall in this game for him though, and Macarthur have said they're going to do everything possible to ensure that he gets through this period and is able to play his best football despite the sacrifices he's making through Ramadan, which is just wonderful to see. It's such a diverse league, and that's what we love about it. Aldred's delivery off the head of Ali Orgler. Brown. Again, that's another decent delivery, but there's just no one attacking it at the back post.
Well, they've been very good at getting numbers in the box, Brisbane, generally, but no one's really anticipating. And Corey Brown's delivery is becoming really steady and consistent, and just not getting the players in the box. By my reckoning, it's probably 4 of his last efforts have really had the potential from Corey Brown.
Underway momentarily. Brown leathers it. Jelicic. His touch was pounced on by Macarthur, and now Uli Davila rushing forward. Bacchus fed by the Mexican. Now he's trying to link with Holman, and it just floats a little wide of the Olyroos. But he's going to win a free kick here.
Well, what a wonderful chance for Brisbane up the other end to get level. Corey Brown just took his time and measured the shot. Keegan Jelicic too heavy on the touch. It was he then who charged back upfield to try and help defensively, but concedes the free kick on Jake Holman.
Whipped in by Adamson, couldn't beat the first man though, and now Lewis. Bacchus flipping it in towards the near post and glided away by Kai Truant. Waddingham got himself in some good areas since coming onto the field. Brown and Truant. Macarthur setting themselves up well here defensively. O'Shea unpicked them. Allows it to run to Burke Gilroy. Dangerous ball again. And here is a strike from Kai Truant, who's only scored once in his A-League career. It would have been pretty special to grab his second in game number 100.
Yeah, not unreasonable from Kai Truant to shoot from there, but again, Brisbane fashioning a nice passage of play which results in a pretty tasty delivery into the penalty area. Again, it's Brisbane who can't then capitalise. Macarthur who come away clean.
And it probably tells the tale in this second half as both sides take the chance to come over and have a drink. So we've got a Macarthur player down. It's Kieran Bacchus, who only is making his first start since suffering a groin injury 6 weeks ago. He's been coming off the bench the last couple of games, so maybe just feeling the effects of a lack of match minutes. And I was just going to touch on, Harps, the fact that Brisbane's best chances in the second half, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to process through my mind what's happened in the second half. Their best chances have been those kind of volleys from outside the box. Corey Brown a moment ago and Kai Truan there. So just trying to create a clear-cut opportunity is what they're after at the moment.
Yeah, well, and Tom Aldred had that shot from the edge of the box as well in this second half. Look, clearly the trend, which has been impressive from Brisbane, is being able to work the ball into those situations wide and outside the penalty area. That's the first step. The second step has been to make sure you get a good delivery, and Corey Brown and most latterly Bert Gilroy had obliged. And it's just the third phase which they're missing, and that's bodies in the box, winning the contest and heading or forcing the ball home. Macarthur, to their credit, have defended their penalty area well.
One benefit for both of these sides potentially is the result in the other match this afternoon, Harps. Macarthur in their quest to try and lock down a home final, and Brisbane trying to make their way into the top 6 as Wellington. Big win over Sydney FC. Not big in the scoreline, but huge in the context of the season and the premiership race.
Hugely significant because it just dents Sydney's run. They've been casting a bit of a shadow over many of the teams around them, building a great head of steam, and Wellington had to come from behind to win that match in Auckland.
Waddingham, chance just opened up for him. May get a second bite at the cherry here. Tom Waddingham, maybe even a third, as Curto got the clearance away. He put the frighteners up the Macarthur backline there, did Tom Waddingham. They were quite lax in trying to get the clearance away. Poor Burke Gilroy. And again, covering off that near post as he's done throughout this match, Tommy Smith.
And again, enough intent from the Macarthur players. Philip Curto just keeping his nerve there ultimately to get the ball clear. But it's really all Brisbane doing the attacking.
O'Shea's ball, again it's Uzcock winning the header in the air. He's winning them at both ends of the ground. And Davila, despite his size, good strength there to hold off Brisbane players, but they're back through O'Shea. Hoare turns, got a little nudge, went to ground. Mile Jusnic wasn't afforded the advantage. Alex King believing that the free kick was the better option, and it probably seemed to be the case.
Yeah, it almost looked as much as Henry Hoare turning into Clayton Lewis as the other way. Alex King has not missed much, if anything, this afternoon at Ballymore, deciding that the best option for Brisbane was not advantage, but a free kick.
And the free kick is clipped in dangerously towards Mile Jusnic. They recalibrate and go again through Brown and Hoare. Mile Jusnic closed off. Waddingham! What a chance to make it 7 goals for the season for Tom Waddingham.
Unbelievable chance for Waddingham. And where Raphael, in the first half for Macarthur, controls a difficult volley to score. Nottingham can't do the same for Brisbane. Not an easy opportunity, but one that really otherwise should have been finished. Nevertheless.
So Charles Monbois replaces Kieran Bacchus. Hasn't played for a couple of weeks since he gave away that penalty against Newcastle. Charles Monbois, it's been a tough season for him because he hasn't got the opportunities this season due to the glut of midfielders that Macarthur have at their disposal. But one thing I've been told is that since he came back from international duty with Tanzania in January, he has been like lightning in a bottle. He has been buzzing around at training, really energetic, and he's forced his way into the side. 6th appearance here off the bench. No surprises that the majority of his appearances have come in the last few months. And we're in this final 15-minute period where Macarthur have scored 13 goals for the campaign, but right now they're trying to defend Keegan Jelicic. As Brown now, Mila Jusnic got up well, almost up on the shoulders there of Ivan Vojica.
And where Henry Hall was placed, it was almost the one occasion you actually probably didn't really want Brisbane to win the aerial duel. Look at Henry Hall just waiting there. A bit proppy after that too, and Mila Jusnic, a little bit of cramp.
Jamat. Ali Orgler does enough to win a free kick. Good energy and speed, asking questions of the Brisbane defence, which forced the challenge from Tom Aldred.
He's done a lot there from Tom Aldred, contact-wise. Now it's the ball going the way of Macarthur.
Orgler and Lewis just querying the distance of the wall. You sense this could be twofold here, Harps. Questions the distance of the wall to get it pushed back a little further, also wastes a few extra seconds. Clayton Lewis decides against going direct, finds Uscock again, and that was closed off by Henry Hall. But it's a corner here, and this has been problematic for Brisbane in this game.
Ball chipped over by Lewis, was cocked with the percentage play, keeping the ball just in, first priority, and winning the corner as a result. So there's no Lauren Berenguer now to mark Tommy Uscock because he's been substituted. That looks like it's Tommy Waddingham's job.
Adamson hooking it back into the gloves of Macklin Freak. Put under some pressure by Holman and Orgler. They were not giving him a moment's peace, but Brisbane off the back of that delivery. Rojas into the frame of the goal, and then Waddingham puts it wide.
Well, just fantastic football. Firstly from the referee for not blowing the foul on Jake Holman for blocking the long release from the goalkeeper. The control from Marco Rojas to bring that ball down on the fly was magnificent. Then the quick feet again, we've referred to them a few times. Unfortunately for he can't get the shot on target, rattles the framework, and again the volley goes everywhere but it needs to go for Brisbane. Another chance comes and goes for them.
Jez Lofthouse on the field as well now for Brisbane. So really dipping into their energy men off the bench. Ruben Zadkovic and his coaching staff. They don't want this inaugural A-League men's match at Ballymore to end in disappointment. Corey Brown did get the touch, but it fired through to Philip Curto. So time is of the essence here for the Raw. Lucic got a clip on the way through from Holman, who joins those in the referee's notebook. Only Jack Hingett so far. Lucic. Shape to go right, came back the other way, and there was a cul-de-sac. Smith nails that pass onto the chest of Lewis. Delivery to Ali Orgler, and it was a similar kind of volley that Raphael smashed into the back of the net in the first half. Orgler couldn't repeat the dose in the second.
Well, chances at both ends, given the time and the way Brisbane have finished their passages of play. You reckon Orgler scores that at 3-1 and they can bag the 3 points and sit third. But he can't control that. It wasn't an easy effort for Ali Orgler, but it was beautifully put on nevertheless from Clayton Lewis, who's been an impressive figure in the Macarthur midfield. So too, Jay O'Shea again.
Drew 2 in, linked with Hoare, Gilroy. And Hoare just too high for Tom Waddingham.
I mean, it's just been a procession of balls floated in, lobbed in, whacked in, whatever, going on or about the 6-yard box, and Brisbane just can't get anyone to make the touch. It's remarkable.
They're just too high, just too low, not enough bend. It's literally everything at the moment for Brisbane. They just are looking for that silver bullet. Can they find it this time? O'Shea, not with that kind of delivery, they won't. Davila hooks it away. O'Shea, Rojas. He's got so much magic in his boots, does Marco Rojas. Can he find some more here? He's shut off. The door closed on his angle to goal, and Alex King says nothing doing, much to the displeasure of the home fans.
Well, everyone's asking why, except Marco Rojas. Interesting. And Marco Rojas' response was instructive. The referee evidently got it bang on first time. Been excellent today, Alex King. We've just seen the one replay. To me, that didn't look definitive. But the most telling part of the whole sequence was that whilst everyone in orange was up in arms, well, it was everyone except Rojas, the man in the centre of it all. Mind you, he hasn't got a history of histrionics, Marco Rojas, and to just get on with the game, so...
Gilroy runs it back into the middle of the box where there was no one really in orange stationed. That will be a free kick. Jez Loftus straight through the back of Mombois. So Rojas more frustrated with himself. The question Brisbane fans will be asking is, did Orgler change his line to block off the run of Marco Rojas? And Alex King is saying no, he didn't. O'Shea telling Henry Hoare to go. And that's where Truhan sending the ball this time. Brown. O'Shea. And Hoare. Truhan driving forward momentarily. Thought about continuing the run. Now he does. And O'Shea is going to win a free kick here. really good close control, and it's nothing out of the ordinary from Jay O'Shea. He is all class, and he earns his side a set piece.
Not 100% sure where the free kick comes. Nevertheless, an opportunity for Brisbane again to set. They'll drop one into the pack.
And is there going to be someone here to attack? Alex King giving the instructions to the Macarthur defenders. Just to O'Shea, up they rise. Good rise from Adamson. And now Mombwa. His trademark speed from Charles Mombwa. And Lewis, well, that is wonderful defensive work from Corey Brown. How about the application there from the left back to get all the way across and make a key challenge to stop the Macarthur counter-attack. Truan. Mombwa again. Macarthur just winning all these balls in the air. Just looks like the desperation clearly evident as they look to cling on to 3 vital competition points. Really would damage Brisbane's finals hopes. It wouldn't extinguish them, but it would certainly hurt them in the run-in. 5 matches remaining for them after this. We know the numbers around the 35 to 40 mark. And Florent Berenguer leading the P+ player index. He was leading it at half-time. Lewis, the latest down. Doesn't look to be too much of a concern, though, for the all-white. Off to join Darren Baisley in the New Zealand national team next week.
Everyone.
So with the scoreboard the way it is and time ticking away, Macarthur will be edging Melbourne Victory into 3rd place based on matches won. Victory's goal difference is way healthier than Macarthur's, but of course it doesn't count as the primary reference point.
So Macarthur's high watermark, I know that I've only been in the competition for a few seasons, but 6th place in the 2020-21 season. They got 39 points that year, so they win this one. They're only 4 points away from that. Their 4th season in this competition. Dirk Gilroy has got a spectacular goal in his locker. He scored one for Perth against Victory a few years ago as Henry Hoare shaped left and right, and sits here for Waddingham. Brown asks Lofthouse to bring it down. It's just too difficult in that kind of situation for Brisbane. Jelicic looking again for Waddingham. Are they about to make it 6 matches undefeated against Brisbane Roar Macarthur? And back-to-back wins it would be. Orgler, German with a high degree of difficulty there to control that ball. O'Shea to Truant. And Brown asking for a tied Henry Hoare. It looked there to chase down the ball. Ruben Zadkovic barking out instructions as he usually does, but that seemed to have more venom as Henry Hoare. Low it goes. Waddingham got a key touch, but Curto dove on the ball as it was heading towards goal.
Well, they've had chances, good chances to equalise. And again, they built a situation where they got close to goal and got the touch towards goal. Henry Hoare doing the teasing on this occasion. Nowhere near enough pace on that to trouble Philip Curto.
5 minutes of stoppage time. More than enough time here for Brisbane. Marco Rojas just offside. And Philip Curto is going to use every second here. Very few chances for Macarthur in the second half, but one more golden opportunity would sink Brisbane. They've defended stoutly in this second half. Really important match for them heading into the international break. As Harps mentioned before, they would go third. Davila after Adamson's good work. And Davila's just heading towards the corner flag. Now he angles inboard. And Corey Brown is able to nick it off his toes, but Brisbane, they have to go quickly. Jelicic struggling for an option, has to go back across goal to find Aldred. Macarthur all happy to drop back a little deeper. And this will be a whistle and yellow card comes out.
Well, whilst Brisbane have had a lot of chances to equalise, Macarthur had a great breakaway opportunity then to seal it completely. It looked like after the impressive run upfield in possession of Willie Davila, they just lacked the energy then to really force that situation home, get the third and seal the points.
So Danny De Silva's going to come on for about 3 minutes here. If that, maybe 2 if he's lucky. He came back off the bench from a hamstring injury last week against the Mariners. Comes on here just to take a little bit of time off the clock. Germain gets a breather. And Brisbane had time there to work out something from the set piece. O'Shea, under the head of Mombwa, one of the shortest players on the field, picked out there. And Danny De Silva, with so much space ahead of him, really testing out that hamstring. He's bearing down on goal and he's shut off by a wonderful piece of cover defending from Jay O'Shea.
Now that's tough on Danny De Silva. He's not noted for his speed, but he's just come on the field. The first opportunity you get is to run uncontested for half the field to get a shot on goal. You'd be surprised for a fresh player how heavy your legs get very quickly without being able to acclimatise.
He hasn't even got his second win yet.
Exactly. Well, struggling to get his first one. And he was just mown down by Truant.
Well, Charles Mombwa just asked to move the ball. He's saying, I'm happy to do that. Take a few more seconds off. Brisbane players swarming Davila. And they will get it away, but It's Macarthur with Smith. Can they pinch the ball back, Brisbane, and have one final opportunity? At the moment, it looks unlikely as Mombwa down the byline. Davila skies his shot, but that may just be enough. There should be a bit of time added on for the substitution that Macarthur made, so there's probably enough for at least another minute, you'd say, if that. Truant. It was a searching ball for Burke Gilroy. Lofthouse and Hoare. Lofthouse all on this as he lofts it in towards Corey Brown at the back post. That was a poor ball from Orgler, but fortunately Tommy Uscock mops up any kind of danger that was going to be presented there. So they're almost there now, Macarthur, to a crucial 3 points on the road. Bouncing back from that defeat last week to the Mariners. So we're ticking towards that minute. Alex King may be happy to allow Brisbane one final opportunity. And that looks to be extinguished now. And it's the Bulls, the visitors, who christen Ballymore with a significant A-League men's win that consolidates their spot inside the top 6, and they are now in 3rd place on the table, chasing their highest finish in their 4 seasons in this competition. They're just 4 points away now from their biggest haul back in their inaugural season in 2020-2021. So the two former Derby County teammates exchange pleasantries, but it's Brisbane who remains stranded 3 points outside the 6. They still have 5 matches to make up ground, but it is going to be a tough run now for the Roar. Full time at Ballymore, Brisbane Roar 1, Macarthur FC 2. And Andy Harper, in the end, it was just a lack of cutting edge from Brisbane, which seems to have made the difference.
Yeah, this is certainly one that's got away from Brisbane. Firstly, to the victors, full credit to them. Macarthur, after a flat performance, losing at home last weekend, into the difficult trip to Brisbane against a team which is on the rise and very difficult to beat. And they just fell on their sword of 2 really bad defensive situations. Played enough good football, enough constructive football, created enough sights at goal and openings, at least to get something out of the game, if not win it. So it's one that got away for Brisbane, but it's Macarthur who secure 3rd spot on the table with this win. It's a great outcome for them.
Well, here are the 3-2-1 in the Alex Tobin medal race. Clayton Lewis ahead of his all-whites duty. He gets the 3. Corey Brown once again dynamic down the left edge, and Keely Adamson also gets a point. So let's hear now from the player of the match, the Isuzu Ute player of the match, Clayton Lewis. Congratulations on your performance today, Clayton. That's a huge 3 points on the road. Just tell us how you worked your way back into that game after Brisbane had a dominant spell to start.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Brisbane are always a tough